بيتم فيه مناقشة كتير من المواضيع المخصة، وفيه انت ممكن كمان تعبر عن رأيك وتتواصل مع شباب بنفس تفكيرك. زون 72 بيجيكم في كل يوم السبت من الساعة 4 مساء للساعة 5 مساء على الهواء وعلى الإنترنت فقط على أي راديو. عينك على جنوب السودان.
Young people are not just the future, they are the present. Welcome to Zone 72, the show that highlights the rights, voices, and choice of the adolescents and youth. On Zone 72, we put young people at the center of sustainable development, exploring the three-pillared global strategy for the adolescents and youth, empowering health, education, and meaningful participation. This is your space, your voice, your future. Join the conversation, get informed, and be inspired. Zone 72, where youth leads, ideas matters, and change begins.
الشباب ما بس المستقبل، هم الحاضر. أهلا بكم في برنامج زون 72، البرنامج الذي يسلط الضوء على حقوق المراهقين والشباب وآرائهم وخياراتهم. في زون 72 نضع الشباب في صميم التنمية المستدامة ونستكشف الاستراتيجية العالمية ذات الركائز الثلاث لتمكين المراهقين والشباب في مجالات الصحة والتعليم والمشاركة الفعالة. ده مساحتكم، ده صوتكم ومستقبلكم. انضموا إلينا كل يوم السبت على إذاعة أي راديو من الساعة 4 للساعة 5 بالمساء. زون 72، حيث يقود الشباب وتسمع الأفكار ويبدأ التغيير.
Yes, good evening, listener of iRadio, and welcome to the Zone 72 Youth Program with me, Baria Johnson. It feels good to be back on air and engage with all of you, both on air and online. Zone 72 Youth Program comes to you every Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. I am also happy to have with me in the studio our sign language interpreter for today. That is Matthew Achek, who is stepping in for Grace and Vico, making this very program inclusive. Zone 72 highlights on the rights and choices for all adolescents and youth, and it emphasizes on the three-pillared global strategy for adolescents and youth, putting young people at the center of sustainable development. Zone 72 Youth Program is in collaboration with South Sudan Ministry of Health, South Sudan Nurses and Midwives Association, Shabab Le Shabab, Canadian Association of Midwives, and UNFPA. The program is made possible with support from Global Affairs Canada. Well, to comment on today's program, you'll be calling us on our studio lines, that is 0911 or 0922 986 986, and for text messages, you can send to 0913 986 986. You can also stream this broadcast live by logging onto our website, that is www.iradio.org, on our Facebook page, iRadio. If you have questions about adolescent health, you can send us an email to youthzone72@gmail.com or call 0922009497. We also have two hotlines, and they're toll free. If you want to report on GBV, you can call 623, and if you want to report on adolescent health immediate, you can call 885. Well, ahead of the International Women's Day, which is celebrated annually on 8th March, today on the show we'll be highlighting achievements of young women, and we'll amplify the voices of those who continue to shape our communities, policies, and the future. In this first edition for the year 2026, we'll be discussing She Speaks, Real Women, Real Power, and I'm privileged to be joined. We were supposed to have two guests, but for now I have with me in the studio Emanuela Duatoka, who is a development practitioner and policy advocate, and we'll be joined shortly by Monica Malit, who is advocate for refugee rights, youth empowerment, and gender inclusivity. So good evening, Emanuela, and welcome.
Good evening, and thank you so much.
Yeah, it's good to always have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yes, I'll first say happy International Women Month. It's our month.
To you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So starting the show, what does real power mean to you personally, and how do you see youth and women redefining power in today's world?
Well, that's an interesting question, and interesting to think about what real power means. According to me, I'll say real power is not dominance. To a woman and to a girl, power is in their voices. Power is the ability to ask questions. Power is confidence to say yes to your dreams. So power is basically to be informed to a woman. Power is to be independent. Power is to know how to set boundaries and to know who to seek for help, and also to have a community that supports you. So today's women are learning to redefine power, meaning that they can speak on consent, they can speak on leadership, they can speak on education. That means we have already learned how to overcome fear by having the courage, and that to me is power, especially to a woman in a role that is full of dominance. Yes.
Okay. And as a development practitioner and policy advocate as well, so what do you believe is the most overlooked barrier preventing women from accessing leadership opportunities in South Sudan? Let's talk about our context here in South Sudan.
Well, basically, there are a number of barriers that are preventing women in accessing leadership platforms or maybe positions. One of them can be internal doubts. Most women doubt themselves. As I said before when I was defining power of the dominance, women have, considering the dominance, women have tend to doubt themselves. So if, let's say, a woman tend to stand in an electoral position, let's say they're running and there is a man, definitely they will feel like maybe that man will be the one to get more votes than them. So there is that internal doubt that have really hindered so many women into running into leadership positions or into doing something, because first of all they feel like they're inferior because the society has already imposed that thought in them. And then another thing is structural exclusion and, let's say, tokenism, whereby women will be invited into spaces but not given the opportunity to speak. I've been in so many rooms where there are so many men and fewer women. And I normally tend to get angry where women don't tend to speak. You find that men dominate the conversations and the women just sit, listens, and then when the thing is over, if it is a workshop, they go home. Why can't we give that space to women? Or if that space is not given to women, why can't you as a woman claim that space? Because the fact that you are invited into the same space as the other person, meaning you share the same privileges, you share the same opportunity. So you should be able to raise your voice in such kind of spaces. So you find that people are dominating, and then all of a sudden someone say, oh, we have women here, please let us give them the chance to speak. Why can't you as a woman reclaim your state? So that structural exclusion where women are brought into spaces but most times are forgotten, like as if they're not there, is also another thing. And also us as women, considering that barrier, we should really learn how to take up spaces. When we are there, we should make sure that we have our contribution. We should not doubt that maybe what I'll say will be irrelevant. Speak it, put it on the table, let it be the center of debate. Because sometimes if you speak something, people will debate upon it, and then later on we'll come into a conclusion whether, okay, this suggestion is in line with our topic or not. So such barriers also have prevented most of our women in leadership. And I really admire the women who are speaking up on the 35% of affirmative action. That it is given in formalities where women are given 35% affirmative action, but in implementation it is not yet strong. Right now we are approaching elections, whether we are going to have it or it's going to be pushed, but we're looking forward to women really taking up that into heart and say, we were given this percent and let us stand by it. So I'm looking forward to women running to leadership positions. Even if we are having a woman run as a president, we will cast our votes. Let us see women really picking it up. Let us not let it be as a formality in paper. So let us challenge it and ensure that we pick it up. Yes, that's what I was saying.
All right, thank you for bringing that up. And you find also, Emanuela, sometimes we women, we allow men to speak on issues that are affecting us. So it's good that you brought that up. It's good for you as a woman to speak about what is really affecting you and affecting other women, instead of men speaking it on our behalf, because they don't have the experience. They don't know what we really go through. So also I want to know from you, as also a youth advocate, like how can women and also youth leaders collaborate among themselves and engage, different stakeholders across sectors, just to amplify their impacts?
Well, there are different avenues of collaborations. First of all, we can start by having support networks, whereby women, young people, and also stakeholders can sit and see what are the challenges that are affecting women, affecting young people. And then it is from those challenges where we can form initiatives that later on can be funded by those partners or maybe governments. So when we have those supportive networks where each and every person's voice is integrated and is heard, that's when we can move a step further into forming those initiatives. I know young people are having a number of initiatives, but currently they are not funded. One thing I think that is very known to everyone is that most of the local women organizations or youth-led organizations are considered to be small and lacking capacity to utilize fund. But I think the moment that we move away from that perspective, we will be able to fund initiatives that are run by women and are run by young people, and strengthen the collaboration between grassroots organizations.
Okay. Earlier on, when I asked you about power, you talked about being informed, education. So I just want, what are the 3 top things you wish everyone in South Sudan understood about educating a girl? We are now looking at educating the girl child.
Yes. Well, one thing that I can say, in so many years we were saying educating a girl is educating the nation.
Yeah.
So allow me to rephrase it today, where I say that educating a girl is educating a generation. Why will I say that? Because if we look, taking an example from our mothers, let's say, until now you find that women are saying if their husbands don't beat them, meaning
they don't love them.
They don't love them.
Yeah.
That has been passed
for generations.
Yes, it has been passed for so long, like for so many years. Every person that comes, they feel like if the husband loves them, they have to beat them. So the moment the husband does not beat them or quarrel, there is a disconnect. So it tends to hurt them so much, meaning that knowledge has been passed down. So why can't we change the knowledge, and you be the person to break the chain and tell your daughter that if the husband beats you, that is violence.
Yeah.
So you should ensure that in your family there is peace, there is love, there is understanding. That girl will take that same knowledge to the children as well. So we have already broken that chain of abuse. So that is why I say educating a girl is educating generation. So the moment you educate this girl, she will pass down the knowledge, be it negative, be it positive. So it is good that we put positivity in our girls, so that the generations to come will have that positive knowledge as well. And the second thing, you said 3. This has been a song for so many years since I entered into the advocacy space, is educating a girl prevents early marriages, prevents abuse, prevents dependence. Because if a girl has knowledge, she will likely have her own ability to stand on her own feet, generate income, support the family. But if you don't educate a girl, she will end up being a burden. That's why we have so many single mothers or so many widows that are failing to hold their family, because they are only dependent on their husbands, and when the husband passes away, they are left in so many problems. So once we educate a girl, we give them a guarantee to stand on their own selves, and it will also less abuse, and they can also take their time to get married, because they have to focus on their career and build themselves as well. And the last thing, when a girl rises, the community as well rises. So the community will take pride in the achievement of their girls. It sounds different when you say a girl is a lawyer than if you say a boy is a lawyer, because it is normalized, you know. But if I am the one who is a lawyer, you know, people will admire and be like, the daughter of that woman is
a lawyer.
Yes. So the community takes pride. So when a girl rises or when a girl achieves something, it is a success of everyone. So I feel like when we consider these three, we should really be able to focus on educating our girls more.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Emanuela. Welcome, Monica, on board.
Thank you.
Yes. I will first say Happy Women's Month to you.
Thank you.
We have already started the show. Yes, to you, listen of iRadio. We are joined by Monica Malith, who is advocate for refugee rights, youth empowerment, and gender inclusivity. And she is also the former first international student to be the president of the University of Nairobi Students Association.
Thank you.
Yes, it's good to have you on board. Monica, I want to know from you personally, what does real power mean to you personally, and how do you see youth and women redefining power in today's world?
Thank you so much, and my apologies for coming in late. To me, this question, what real power means, is giving someone a voice. And I take myself as a good example, and other women that I've seen out there. Giving someone real power is empowerment. And what real power looks like to women, it's empowering a girl child. Whenever people ask me of any advantage or disadvantages I've got as a woman myself, I'll say I have not had any disadvantages or advantages of me being a woman, because I was empowered rightfully. There were difficulties on the way, but then through my education and through other avenues that I got empowered through education, I got my voice. And this real power will mean taking girls to school. And taking girls to school, making them understand who they are. Because one of the difficult things that any woman is struggling with currently is lack of self-awareness. And this self-awareness will make you go with any opinion that anyone out there says about you. And if you realize across the world or across the globe, you realize that women have always been stereotypes. And there are things that are said about a woman, like if I stand up and run for presidency, there will be, people will look for other justifications as to why I'm running for it. But because I was empowered enough, I knew what I wanted and I was going for it. So real power to women will be making you, or making every girl child or every woman understand who they are. And from there they will compete just like any other person. They'll occupy spaces, and these spaces will only be occupied by women who are intellectually empowered and who are educated. So real power means understanding myself as Monica, you understanding yourself, and each one of us taking a role in empowering any girl child that you need to take real power out there. Because you don't need to get into positions, or people don't need to feel like because of the gender balance and all of that, you need to give a woman a space. But if I'm empowered enough, I'll come in with merits, just like any other person. And that real power, that is what real power is to any girl and to any woman out there. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Monica, you mentioned that you were empowered right from the start. I just want to know if there were any challenges that you faced in your education and now growing to your career as a woman. And what would you tell girls and also boys who might be facing the same challenge as you?
Being empowered right doesn't mean that I didn't have challenges in the process, but the challenges came in when I knew myself. Even before I was in school, I knew who I was, even in the context that I was back in the cattle camp. Yes, I knew who I was, my name and all of that. So when it came into the challenges, of course, any other South Sudanese lady being in school, my father was the first obstacle to my education. It just felt like taking girls to school, there is always a stereotype that they will not be good people, members of the society, they'll come back spoiled, they'll get all in school. And the insecurities that our parents have, because I understand from where my father was coming from. So the first challenge was my father accepting me to go to school, and he actually cried the last day he said yes. He shed tears. And this gave me fuel when I was going to Kenya and studying. I knew my father cried, and a few of the things that he said was that my daughter is going to be spoiled. So I was very cautious. Some of the challenges I faced as well was that I was in class with people who are 3 years before me, So it was their 4th year in school. I was the oldest in class. And of course, there were other South Sudanese older than me or same age. But then coming from a background that was so different, even I had never stayed in Juba, but now being taken to a different country, learning new language, new culture, and at the same time, your education comes in and you left your parents behind. You're with relatives. That was one of the challenges that any other student or any other person out there will feel, adapting and learning new things. Of course, in the process, I faced early marriages and arranged marriages, just like any other South Sudanese will do. Yeah, you become of age, you finished primary school, and the suitors already coming in, challenges here and there in the family, and people are like, okay, we can give her off for marriage. So those are a few of the things that I came across in my education journey. But what empowered me was my zeal. Like when my parents or people around me were talking of me getting married, I was academically good. And this is one of the things that even if any suitor come and I'll just tell them I'm in school, they see I was performing. So I think this was the one of the advantages I had, because I'll show them that, look, and people were willing to take me up for education. It was not only my uncles, or my mother was the one schooling me as well. So no one would really make a decision over getting me off. At the same time, I made my people or my parents understand, and I let them trust me through the process of education. That, look, I'm here in school and I'm doing tangible work that can be seen in my papers and even the way people recommend me. So those are the few of the challenges that I came across, of course, and in the journey of choosing a career that you don't have mentors, direct mentors, you're just letting opinions from the teachers shape what you want to do, how you speak, and of course looking up to career to becoming a lawyer was something like I liked. And in the process, I found myself in the positions of leadership, and I saw injustices that were happening even at the smallest level. I felt like things were not being done right. So I just said, okay, law is all about knowing your rights and responsibilities, and how do you defend people? So I want to be a lawyer. Yeah, in the basic form of you wanting to be a lawyer. So those are the things I will say.
Okay, thank you, Monica. Yes, Emanuela, we also want to hear from you if you encountered any challenges from education to your career, and how you overcame them, and what message do you have for people who might be going through also the same challenge as you?
Well, in my education, I didn't face so much challenges because, first of all, my parents were so supportive. I come from a family where education is very prioritized, and if you don't want to study, that's an issue. So if at all lack of studies, interest in studies should come from you as a child, but not from them as a parent. So maybe the only challenge I faced was the transition from physical studies to online studies during COVID, where I was studying in Kenya, in Eldoret. So once we experienced,
Okay.
Yeah. So during COVID, we had to close the campus, and then we went back home. But then the school didn't want us to miss a semester or to just waste our time staying at home. So they introduced e-learning programs where we could attend classes online. And by then, it was still the first time where we're going to e-learning platforms. It was still being introduced, so it was challenging. So basically, to me, my education wasn't so challenging besides that part. So, but what I can say to those who have experienced challenges, I mean, as Monica has overcome them, so will they. That is why we have the aspect of mentorship, meaning you can look up to someone who has gone through challenges and they were able to overcome them, because mentorship doesn't mean that someone should come and hold your hand and take you through. You can be mentored through observation. You observe and then you learn, because mentorship to a girl is making them know that it is possible before they could experience it. So if there's a certain challenge, whether it is objection from the family, you can overcome it by ensuring that your performance at school is well, such that when they think of removing you, They will see your performance, just as Monica, and then they say, okay, let us give you a benefit of the doubt. If you perform well, you can continue with your studies. And also having a safe person to go to, where you know that the person is going to support you if you yourself cannot be able to remove yourself from that particular challenge. So you look for a person. If you're in school, look for a teacher who can stand by you. If you're in the community, if maybe your chief can stand with you, you can share and then have that supportive person with you that can take you through. And maybe lastly I can say is that for the parents, we have already spoken about the benefits of education. Marriage is not the only achievement that a girl can have. There are so many, so they should also explore and see what other benefits can our girl have besides taking them for marriage. We know they get the bride price, it somehow boosts the family economy, but then there are other opportunities as well that a girl can be able to benefit from. So to the young people and to the young women, we can try to influence our society to knowing our value that is more than just getting married and focus on the studies.
Okay. Maybe before we proceed to the next question, I would like to add to everyone else that when she brought in the aspect of the community and approaching our society, we need to also understand the complexities of where we come from. Because for my case, if I go to a chief and talk to them in a different context, they'll be like, oh, she's trying to act smart. So it's more of letting your parents understand after understanding the context that you come from. But taking your education as your responsibility will make you and your parents, will make you know ways in which you can approach your parents and make them understand. Because in my case now, none of my family members has ever been in school. So how do I make them understand? And how do I understand the context that I'm coming from? And from there will flow, because they're also traumatized with the new culture, and transitioning takes time. So as any person who is in school, take education as your responsibility and take it upon yourself that you look for ways, depending on who your parents are and the community that you come from, for them to understand in a polite way. Thank you.
Okay. Monica, I just want you also to take us through your experience as the first international president of University of Nairobi Students Association. So what does your journey mean really for girls here in South Sudan today, and what do you think needs to be changed for more girls so that they can also follow?
Thank you so much. And this highlights my education journey. My presidency highlights my education journey. And to talk a bit about when I had the dream of becoming the president was in my second year. Or to start with my leadership journey, when I was in primary school, I schooled in Eldoret Central Primary, and then moved to Alpha Junior. So from there, from when I was in class 6, I contested to be the head girl. So I defeated class 7 and class 8, and I became the head girl. And then the same way in high school, from Form 2, Form 3 and Form 4, I was the school captain, which is the head girl as well. So when I was in my Form 2, we went for career guidance to Kenyatta University. And the president came in with a team, and like everyone was just walking after him, and he commanded the room, and the way he was speaking, very confident. So I said, I'm gonna be the next president. Of when I go to university, I'll be the next president of whichever the university that I'll go to. But there were complexities in that. I didn't know what is required of an international student to be one, or is it open for everyone? So I came to University of Nairobi, and there was the aspect of expulsion. And I know I'm a bit radical leader at times. So I knew if you become a leader, you get expelled in school. So I said, leadership has been a burden. It's been a lot of work from primary school and high school. The experiences have been challenging. So I need to go and focus on my law degree, just focus and study and be a lawyer. But in my second year, I was approached to run for International Students Office. And I said, I gave in my fears, which was me being expelled if I was so radical at times, and if I speak out openly. So I just said, okay, I was convinced, and I ran for International Students Representative in the entire university. I won, and I represented all international students. And in the process, I saw the gaps, both in leadership, and I felt like I was leader enough to come and rule the students. And when I read through the constitution, a bona fide student is the one who is eligible to run. And how do you become a bona fide student? Is by what? Being registered and having in the school and taking classes and taking being in the semester continuously. So I said, even during the elections for international students, I said I'm gonna be the next president. Yeah, I told the chair of the commissioner, the chair of the commission, electoral commission, was my lecturer in property law. So I told him I'm going to do this for South Sudan. I'm going to be the next president in South. And he said, okay, Monica, you can go. I'm happy that I'm seeing you in politics and you're very active in my class. That was his comment. So in the process, we were in the office, we served, and towards the end of the year, I started texting to test waters. So I tell people, I want to run, but then they were my friends. I had friends who were serving with me and who wanted to be the president, so I did not want to override their interest. I don't want to put my interest above theirs. So I approached them, and they were like, Monica, you cannot be the president, and we cannot have you in our teams unless you go back to being international student representative. And I told them, hey, I can't do that. I can't go back to that position. I only need 2 positions. We were 3 of us, so we are negotiating. And here, you have to tell me reasons. Each one of us have to come with reasons as to why they will be the president. The other one becomes the SG, and the other one becomes the vice. And you see what they were telling me, that in the first place, we can't negotiate with you. You're a foreigner. And you're a refugee, and actually from South Sudan. And I was like, okay, it's not as if anything is new. Those are facts. I've always been a South Sudanese from day one. I've always been a refugee. I'm from South Sudan. What does it affect? Tell me any other reason, depending on my qualifications, based on my qualifications, not from my background and the facts about myself. They're like, no, we can't even have you in our team. And I told them, we have to go into the ballot. And if you guys, the 2 of you don't make it, I'll actually drag you and make sure that you go to the ballot and I defeat you from the ballot. So those were my last words with them, and I closed negotiations. So I formed my own team. After forming my own team, I was so confident that I will tell myself, can you fear? Can you have a little bit of fear in you that you might lose? But I was like, no, I was winning because my instincts at times don't lie to me. So I got in, we campaigned. Yeah, there were like people on Twitter, on Facebook, abusing me. She's just being nosy. She's not going to make it. She's just a female. And in Kenya, 3 dynamics determine politics, the student politics. There is the national politics, and that is the national parties, political parties in Kenya. There is the tribe that you come from. At the same time, there is the interest of the students and the interest of the administration. So these 4 things you have to put into consideration, and you have to balance them. Make sure that you look for mechanisms in which you can overcome. But I knew one sure thing: I had the students on my side. If it is just talking to students, I'm a lawyer, of course, it can't defeat me. So I knew I'll convince the students. But the administration, I was like, if the administration was to sit down and choose, they will actually want a new thing. University of Nairobi is a world, and this being world-class university means anyone can lead the students. So if they were to unpick someone, why would they not pick me? So I kept it aside, and have always been a good student. My academics were so straight. I didn't have any grades, I didn't have any retake, I didn't have any low grades. So I knew on my academics I'm sorted. Now the only thing was political. I'm not aligned to any political party in Kenya, but then I knew, of course, politics in Kenya has advanced, that they can't go back and stoop so low to influencing the students, and they won't come out openly about it. But in any case, they don't vote. So I put that aside. The second one was the tribe. Of course, I'm not any tribe in Kenya, but I can talk to them. So I knew I was starting from zero. My opponent was a Kalenjin. So he was telling me, Monica, President Ruto will come and say, I want a Kalenjin to lead University of Nairobi. And I told him, go sleep and wait for the time you'll be installed as the president. So give us people who don't have people to put us into office to campaign. So I ran through it. We started the campaigns. I formed my own team. And I made sure that I locked up my faculty, that no one was willing to go against me. I sat down with the entire faculty, my class members, and I told them, look, I'm fine. And they said, Malit is enough. And my faculty of law came up with a slogan, Malification of University of Nairobi. So none of them ran against me, and all of them supported me. None of them even joined the opponent's team. But in the faculties of my opponents, I had team members from their faculties. I had my vice from one of the faculties that I had an opponent. My SG was actually, I looked for someone very strategically, someone who is a political enemy to my opponent. And I told them, this is the person I need, who will come in and do what, make sure that we get the votes that we need from this faculty. So, and then the same way to engineering, faculty of engineering, and I did all of that. So when all of this came in, it was overwhelming. Of course, there were like, it needs financial aspect. But then the people who saw my post, and they're like, for the virtue of her being a girl and she stood up to run, someone sent me $5,000. Like, requested me, message request on Facebook, we're not talking, and said because of her being courageous enough, I'm going to send in money. There are people who send in money on a weekly basis, people I didn't even know. Some of them I have met. So all of this brought out something daring. It's all about daring, because there were times I'll ask myself, why am I bothering myself to run in any case? In a foreign country, of course, the negativity and the insults were getting heavier on me. And this is one thing I'll tell people. I understood myself better than anyone else. And this didn't allow me to succumb to people's opinions of me. They're like, Monica is very arrogant. And she's very honest. And as a politician, you can't be honest and move on. So what I tell ladies and what I tell anyone else, there is no one who is picked somewhere for certain positions or for certain things. It's how you like get yourself out there. Always there is nothing that is so easy, but if you put in the commitment and the focus that you need and be resilient enough, you'll get it. I was the president, the first international student. It made news, and after it making it news, I saw that it was a big deal, but initially when I was running, I didn't see it. So that is what my journey into presidency at the University of Nairobi did, and how people, again, being a refugee, I actually knew that day I was a refugee. All the days, I didn't really think being a refugee means something that you can always introduce yourself, I'm a refugee, or could someone come against you for being a refugee? So I took up, and that's when I became an advocate for refugees' rights. Speaking up for refugees, and just knowing that being a refugee is a status. And it being a status doesn't affect you. If you have the capacity, you can serve any students. And I actually did well in my leadership. So all of these are the things that I experienced during my leadership, and it showed that once you have the will to do something, of course you can always get away with it. Yeah.
Okay. Very inspiring. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Monica, our time is 43 minutes past the hour of 4, and I'm going to give the chance to our listener to call in if they have questions to our two guests in the studio. Our numbers are 0911 or 0922 986 986. And also, if you're streaming live on Facebook, you can drop your questions and your comments there, and I'll be able to read them later. I'm going to come back again to you, Monica, on being an advocate for refugee rights. What unique challenges do women, refugee women, face when it comes to empowerment, inclusion as well?
The uniqueness or the challenges that are unique to women, the refugees, is trying to juggle between different cultures and having the burden to be the one improving. Girls are always at the mercy of the rest. That, for example, my family is facing a lot in some different contexts and across the communities that I've interacted with as refugees. Most of the women will be felt like if they give off their own rights to education and get married, for example, they'll change the narrative of the family. And other challenges are like adapting. And the refugee schools, the schools that refugees do go to at times, is they are not really conducive schools, and they are congested. And these congestions in school will always want a girl be the one being said, stay home. And of course, the basic needs for a girl might not be met in the camps, for example. At the same time, getting access to further education becomes difficult, in as much as now we have a campaign for 1,000 refugee girls in school, and other campaigns that we are now taking up to talk about people coming out to fund refugees. So most of the challenges that they face, common to adapting to a new environment, is the lack of enough finances, donor fatigue and all of that. So how do we tell people and make them understand that the girls in the refugee camps who just finished the high schools and who are going to new places, of course there are issues of early pregnancies and unplanned marriages. So these are the challenges that refugee girls are facing, and this is why we come out to talk, tell our own stories, and let them, give them the encouragement that these are common to almost all of us, and then this is the way. So those are the few of the things here.
Okay. Coming back to you, Emanuela, earlier on you talked about the affirmative action not being implemented. So what strategies have you found most effective when it comes to ensuring that gender policies are not just written but implemented as well?
Well, first of all, I can say for you to implement a policy, you need finances. So the first thing that comes in the line is having a budget, because a policy without intention, without budget, is like an intention, is equal to an intention without action. So you can have a policy but no intention to implement it because there is no finances. So the first thing that we can lead to really implementing a policy is to have a budget that will support the implementation of that policy. Second of all, we should have monitoring mechanisms whereby, yes, we have a policy, but is it implemented? Are we monitoring it? Is it implemented in a rightful way? Are we really following whatever is in that policy? Are the right targets reached? So we need to have monitoring mechanisms in place. And thirdly, we need to have an accountability system. Who is to be held accountable if that particular policy is not implemented? Who is to be held accountable if the rightful people are not reached in the implementation of that policy? Who is to be held accountable if nothing completely happens that will lead to the implementation of that particular policy? So that is also key. And then maybe lastly is representation of young people and women in the evaluation of the policy implementation, because there are feedbacks along the way. There are people who raise recommendations, suggestions, but do we sit down to evaluate them? And do we involve the relevant people to evaluate them? So if, let's say, it is a youth development policy that everyone knows about, and then we are implementing that youth development policy, when we're coming to evaluate them, are we involving young people in the evaluation because they know the content of that policy? They know what exactly they should have gotten from the implementation of that policy. They know the outcome of that particular policy. So when it comes to evaluation, are we having those young people on board so that they can highlight the areas that were not implemented well, the areas that were missed, the targets that were missed? So those are some of the things that we should really consider when we're looking at policy implementation. First of all, have the monitoring mechanisms in place, have the budget that will lead us to implement, because all those monitoring, accountability processes, evaluations, all those need finances. We have a lot of policies that are just sitting on desks and not implemented because there is no means of implementation. So it is key to have means of implementation so that we can have those policies not just as papers but implemented and also enforced.
Okay. Yes, Monica, you want to add something?
Oh yes. For my case, it's a different approach. I want from the inception of an idea of different affirmative actions for women. And this means from the time of inception of the idea through the discussions all the way to the implementation, evaluation, and just like any other thing that need to be added in the process, because I've realized that I've been in places and in avenues where I've been called to evaluate a program or a policy that was put in place some years back, but I've just been called through the last stages. So then when young people or when policies are being formulated that are for young people or women, it should be that they are participating in the process, and that what brings about meaningful participation of any group that is affected by whichever the affirmative action that people are coming up with. Yeah, that I'll add on that.
Okay, let's go through some of the comments on the Facebook live stream. We have Angel Book Ajak. He says, good evening from Makok of Warap. And then we have Arop Nial. He says, good evening from this side. And then we have another comment from Mustafa Abdul Rahman. He says, good evening to you all. And we have your Toldid. He says, great job. And then we have Machok Madid, Machok Deng. And he says, good evening from Andrew Machak from Duke Padiet. All right. And then we have Priscilla Abel. She says, good evening. Thank you so much for such a wonderful program. It's so inspiring. And then we have a comment from James Matur Kau, and he says the most problem of women today is their attitude toward men. I mean perceptions, feelings and belief about men. You see men as rivals by comparing yourselves with them. Everyone has their own way of acquiring success in specific tasks. Men face criticisms from society before becoming who they are. In conclusion, women must focus on their goals, plans and dreams. Women should move boldly in doing things to boost confidence and avoid taking men as competitors. Competition is a distraction. Okay, so women face social criticism like men do. Dear women, believe in yourselves. Okay, all right. Yes, Emanuela and Monica, would you guys want to? Any of you can comment on that. I'm seeing Monica laughing, so let's start with you.
Yeah, from his comment, he actually is viewing from the point of judgmental. So it's us knowing that we're not a competition to each other, but we're occupying space.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me to compete with a boy who's in class with me. That's healthy competition. So there we have to know what is it about. What competition is he talking about? Because I can be in class with you and I'm competing with you. Yeah, I have to keep up with. Like when I was in my class, I used to compete with men. I contested. I was the only female. Yes, and that was competition.
Yes.
Yeah. So what is he talking about? Of course, there are perceptions about ourselves as men and women, and especially in the context of educated girls. In the context of South Sudan, is so harsh. And most of the stereotypes are against women, not against men.
Yeah.
And men, when you find a man saying that we are competing with women, it's just occupying spaces and I'm standing shoulder high with them. And that's when they feel it's competition. I'm just in the space.
Yeah.
That's not competition. I'm just doing any in my position as Monica. And when I was starting to talk, I said I have never been advantaged because of being a female, and I've never been disadvantaged because of being not being a male. So all of these, you guys have to remove the stereotypes in your heads. It's not us; it's the other way around. Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Yes,
I mean, that sounds like fear of women taking up spaces. Because throughout the years, women haven't been in spaces. We literally have to fight our way through.
Yeah.
So the moment when we are trying to take up spaces, it is termed competition.
Yeah.
No. Them themselves, men, they're competing among themselves to get places. So why shouldn't we compete? Because we're talking of power, we're talking of access. So why shouldn't we also stand and have that access and have those positions if possible? So basically, I can say it sounds insecurity. It's giving insecurity that if women stand, meaning we are competing with them. No, we are just trying to also be in those spaces because we were not there. It had so long communities have pushed us behind that men are the ones dominating. Even in families, say there is a head of the family, or when there is a community meeting, you find women are cooking and men are sitting having the meetings in the communities. It happens. Women are there in the kitchen. the men are here having meetings, there's no women represented. So if we say, okay, let us have at least one chair, can that really stand as a competition? A competition is when you stand 50-50. There are 3 men and there are 3 women sitting in a place, and then but right now we're just trying to find our way through. So that shouldn't be called competition. We're just trying to take up spaces. We are trying to redefine power. We're trying to redefine the narrative of us just being behind, but trying also to be somewhere just as anyone else can.
Okay, thank you so much, ladies. And we are left with a few minutes to finish with the program. And as we conclude, I just want to know from you, what advice would you give to young women who feel sometimes silenced or excluded from decision-making spaces? Let's start with Monica.
What I will say is that at the same time, you need to remove the assumptions in your head and getting into spaces and saying, women, we have been, this has been leveled against, we have been leveled this way. And I said earlier, understanding yourself as a woman will make you sail anywhere. It will make, because now the biggest problem that we succumb to as women is what someone is saying about me. And how do you overcome that is, yes, I'm saying she's short, but I know myself. I'm saying she's not beautiful, but I know I'm beautiful. So your comment won't affect me if you understand yourself. So to any woman there, and take up people who are your role models. Have a role model, someone you look up to. But then in role modeling, I usually tell people, don't look at me in totality of being a perfect Monica. So understand your unique values that you have. Don't beat up yourself because you're not in short hair like myself. Or like I should not beat up myself for not being in long hair like she is. So women understanding themselves, understanding their strength, gets a long way. Gets them a long way into overcoming the stereotypes and all the things that are leveled against them. So that's what I'll say for that case. Yeah.
Yes, Manuela.
So what I'll first say before giving maybe a practical advice, I'll say for the women, the youth, the girls who feel that they're silenced, it's not that they are powerless, but it's because they're in a place which hasn't yet learned how to listen. So for them to be able to actually move out of the silence, they should first learn about their rights. For you to have that power to speak, you need to know what are you entitled to. So you need to know the rights that you should be having, whether it is the right to choice, the right to consent, the right to education, the right to employment, the right to health. You should know those rights. That is when you'll be able to stand and speak. So another thing that I'll say is that their voice, women should know how to use their voices now, because the moment they are silent, they protect a failed system. But if they speak, they protect themselves from the failed system. So they should learn their rights and know how to raise their voices at the right time and at the right platforms.
All right, thank you so much, Emanuela, and thank you, Monica, for this interesting conversation. Thanks to you who have been following the program on our Facebook live stream, and to you, the listener, who also followed the program. We will meet again next Saturday on another conversation right here on the Zone 72. I was with you, Baria Johnson. Have a nice evening.
Young people are not